Hi, I'm Mike Villamick, Head of Product Marketing for the HR product line, and I'm joined today by Samantha Barth from our HR product management team. Today we're going to focus on what's new in Kingston for the HR service delivery product. Now, this release is really all about taking what we have and making it better. By far the majority of the content and enhancements and features in this new release come as a direct result of feedback from our customers. Our over 550 customers continue to give us feedback, and we remain hyper-focused on making our customers successful using our solution. This release is also about really improving the user experience, both for those employees getting service and those HR agents providing the service. So let's take a look at what we're going to show you today. We're going to start by taking a look at a number of case and task innovations to really improve the usability of our solution. We're also going to look at Embedded Connect and show how we're giving employees access to experts and answers in real time right from within a task. We're also going to look at response templates to show how we're making the life of HR agents a lot easier when they have to answer common inquiries from a lot of different employees. And we'll finish off by looking at our mass email communication capabilities that is enabling HR to send out information to targeted sets of employees. Drilling a little deeper here, let's look at case and task innovations. And again, as I said, this is really about improving the usability and the user experience of our users. Things like making it easy to navigate to your cases or your to-do lists, having automatic notifications that will send out as soon as there is a time limit on a task that needs to be completed, and even things like activity badges to help make it easy to see who is responsible for a particular task. When we get to Embedded Connect, we're going to see how we're solving the challenge that employees often have when they're completing a task within a process. Maybe they're setting up direct deposit as part of onboarding, and they have a question. Now, too often these questions stall the process because a lot of times the right person to ask isn't even in HR. They might be in the finance department. So this kicks off an email process that is inefficient and causes delays. So we're going to show you how we're going to make that a lot easier for the employee. We're also going to show you how we're making life easier for the HR agent when they receive common inquiries from multiple different employees. A common inquiry could be something like, when am I eligible for 401k matching? Or when does open enrollment start? Manually responding to these common inquiries is time-consuming, it's inefficient, and it really reduces the consistency and accuracy of the response. So we're going to show you a better way today. And finally, we're going to show our new mass email communication feature. And this enables HR to send information out to targeted sets of employees all from within one system. So they don't have to kick out into another email program and manage it there. They can manage it right from within our product. So Samantha, let's show everyone how this works.
Sure. We will start as the employee and work our way back into the experience as the admin. Now, Emily is an employee with the organization DBR Solutions, and she recently opened a case because she wants to add her spouse to her medical benefits plan. She did this just recently, but she wants to come back and check on how things are going. And as Mike highlighted a minute ago, there are improvements to her employee service center with Kingston that make it easier for her to find a way around, know what's waiting on her, and so forth. So let's say she starts at the top header here, where she can quickly see links that are now available to reach her open cases, as well as to-dos. And you see this nice little blue bubble with a number in it. Well, just like an indicator you would have on an app on your smartphone, this calls Emily's attention to the fact that she is awaited on this task. So she can quickly click right in to get her information going. Now, as she does so, she's able to see that the picture next to her task clearly identifies that she is the party associated with this work. So anytime you see cases or tasks that are assigned to other people, their photos would be there as well. And because she's an end user employee, she's only seeing her own here. But it looks like there is an updated enrollment form required that was not actually provided correctly, and it's due a couple days from now. So she sees again the quick at-a-glance reminder of what the status is. And then in looking at this, she's got a note from her HR person that says there wasn't a qualifying life event selected on your form. So please attach that with the appropriate value selected. This didn't make sense to Emily exactly. She's a little confused. What is my life event? And so now we see this connect chat right here, where within the task, she can reach out to HR, doesn't have to know who she's asking, but she can ask a question quickly while she's completing the task and get an answer that she needs. So, as she adds a question about the task, it can go directly to HR. And her question populates right in the thread, and that will go to the appropriate party on the other side. And we'll see that from her HR person's perspective in just a moment. But the other thing you can see here is that she could quickly upload attachments The chat is actually added into her history, and along with the information she provided previously, Emily can go back and see all of the details that she might need to know about this case as she's working. Now, what happened on the other end? Now, we asked a question of HR, and she doesn't necessarily know who that's going to, but in this case, it's a gentleman named Roger. So we're going to switch over to Roger's point of view and see what he is seeing. And Roger works as an HR agent. He's in the HR support center, he answers questions, he manages cases, and in this instance, he sees his dashboard with all of the cases that he's managing, and right at the top is the most recent one that Emily opened about her benefits. So we see up here, there's a little bubble, again, just like on a smartphone, that alerts Roger to the fact that he has a chat message. And when we click that sidebar, we can quickly notice that Emily's question is right there. Now he's going to go ahead and access the task that she's referring to. So let's just open the record for this case, and we'll see the task information from the HR agent's point of view as contrasted with what Emily saw on the Employee Service Center just a moment ago. He can see her question that she's still trying to add her spouse to her health plan. Really common question. A lot of times in HR, we know the rules about when you can or can't add a person to your benefits, and it's regulated and it's specific. In the case of the employee, they may not know those details. So it's a perfect example for those templated responses that you were talking about, where rather than Roger having to come up and create that answer every time, he can use these pre-built templates to come up with the information for Emily. Now what's really smart about this is you'll notice in Roger's action area there's a new button that wasn't there prior to Kingston. It's called Responses. And the Responses button is going to actually provide him access to those templated snippets, but only if some exist. That button is a smart button. It only shows up when it's needed. So here he clicks on those response templates. There might be more than one, and in this case there's just the one that's appropriate, so he doesn't have to think too hard. But if there are multiple matches, he can pick the appropriate one. And then you'll see there's some personalization that happened here. Behind the scenes, we used pre-populated values. We call them tokens. And those values actually went in and got information about the user or the case or the task, put that right into the response for Roger so he doesn't have to take the time to fill that out. It added, in this case, some very simple things like Emily's name and Roger's signature. And then Roger's just going to go ahead and paste this back right into the chat with Emily. So let's go ahead and copy that to our clipboard. And then right here, he's going to make sure he's sending it as a comment. You could also add things to a work note. And there is his response. As you mentioned, Mike, this really helps consistency, compliance, reduces error of information provided, and you can control with permissions whether or not the user is able to edit those templates or just read them and access them. So with that, he's answered Emily's question. The next thing that happens in Roger's day is the phone rings, and he gets a call from a gentleman named David Liu. David wants to open a case to get things going with adding a beneficiary, I believe on his retirement plan. And the difference is that Roger in the past would have had to start by creating a retirement inquiry case and working from there. Now in Kingston, we got a little bit smarter. And while I create the new case, I reach a totally different user experience than you probably remember from Jakarta, because the first thing it asks me to do is to tell me who are you creating this case for. In the past, we had to know what kind of case and what center of excellence and make some selections right out of the gate. Now this is easier. I go ahead and I search for the employee, and because again we're in our single system of record, it's going to know all this information about David. And just by selecting David's name, the caller on the phone, it pulled up the department he's in, his information, his contact details, and it gave me a lot of relevant information that allows me to serve David better before I decide to create the case. Such as, let's scroll down, David already has a case open to add or modify beneficiaries. So in the past, this would have created a duplicate case. Roger wouldn't have known that until he started down the process. Now I can say, oh, looks like you started a case. Let's look at that one instead of starting over. So I'm going to go ahead and click into his Add a Beneficiaries case. And once again, I can add notes, I can chat with him, I can use those response templates if they're provided. And this is a great where you can see that button is not here because my organization has not built a snippet or a pre-built template for this particular context. So now Roger's got his stuff finished for the day. Let's look at how easy it was for the administrator to set these new features up for our employees. Switching to the system administration view, what we're going to do first is look at those snippets that we just saw and how we set those up. We call them templated snippets, so my admin is just going to search for the word snippet. And you'll see there's a couple of them already in the system. We looked at the one that was a message about the enrollment benefits window where our employee wanted to add her spouse and she was outside of that open enrollment window. So let's click in and see how that was created. What you'll notice is, again, this is a pretty simple one, but this could include pretty complicated details through this menu of variables on the side. So you can see here where we saw Emily's name, we see the token value that codes for the system to go get that user's first name. But all of these different fields could be supplied based on the activity, the task, the location, a really rich template that can customize the content as you go. Likewise, we can put in hyperlinks, we can put in logos, and then my favorite feature, if we scroll down just a little bit, really smart condition logic that lets me decide when exactly is this snippet going to be relevant. So my user doesn't have to go hunt for it, they don't have to think about it, and in this case, this is an always available filter when we're in a task, an HR task. But if we wanted to maybe say, you know what, that really only applies when there's a certain type of task, or there's a certain keyword, or maybe it's only for US users that this policy will apply. So very simple for the end user, really powerful from the admin's perspective, but again, really simple to set up and a great feature that's added with Kingston. The last one I want to show you from the admin's point of view is this new mass email feature you talked about. And what's really cool about this is it's just adding another layer to the way you can make it easy for employees to communicate. We really want to drive them to that employee service center. So we have this toolkit called Manage Content. And within Manage Content, what we now have is an additional content type called mass email. So it depends on what you want to email about, who you're going to target, and which portal users you might reach. Let's just go ahead and create one from scratch so you can see an example here. Whenever we create a content type, we're going to start by adding some basic details, and those required fields are going to help guide us through that. In this case, I'm going to do an email, so the content type is that new selection. And then based on that selection, you can see it filled out the other details on the screen. So that's going to allow me to know what kind of messaging information I need to provide. In this case, it's going to ask for a date of when I want to send this. Maybe I want to stage this for a new launch or event that's coming up, and I can wait and do it a week from now. We are actually going to pretend in this case that the DBR Solutions team is about to roll out a bunch of updates to their portal as a result of having gone to the Kingston release. So when we get to work on Monday, we're going to enjoy all those Kingston features. We want to send a note to all the portal users to go check it out. And you can choose whether or not to include a from or a reply to address. So we're going to just type one in that might be a generic inbox or something. And then the subject is Great New Kingston Portal. And as we get into the body of the email, this is just your standard rich text editor. So I can put in logos, I can put in hyperlinks, I can put in colors, I can put in bold font, whatever I'd like. And then when I hit submit, it will send. But there's one other tab I want to highlight. The user selection piece is really pretty cool. What this is allowing you to do is filter by a variety of different criteria. So maybe you want to send an email to all your new hires. Maybe you want to send an email to all your alumni. Those kinds of things can be pre-populated. In this case, I'm going to show you how we would use a user template that I might have built out in Excel. And there's a little shortcut here that lets me download that template, build it out accordingly. I've done that in advance so you don't have to watch me try and type and talk at the same time. And when we go to my desktop, I've got this email template. There it is. Now I've selected my file. I'm going to hit upload and watch this system make sure I don't make a mistake. It found one user and one that's not a user. So I put in an email address that was no longer recognized as a current user's email address. Rather than emailing someone who shouldn't get the message, it filtered that out. And I'm also able to quickly see who those users are. Here we see Emily again, the gal that opened her benefits case earlier. She has a valid email in the system and it recognized that. Here we can see that my personal Yahoo email actually won't work. I'm not a valid user and it told me so. So then with that in mind, I can close that out and hit submit and it will send to those users as scheduled. So that's just kind of a quick tour. We obviously have a lot of other good features in Kingston I'm really excited about. We have the ability to add some deep links. We have the ability to use our portal content to communicate more richly. And overall, I think the look and feel is going to create not only a better user experience, but a faster, more efficient experience that helps organizations drive their business more quickly.
Fantastic. Thank you, Samantha. So just to recap, we're really providing that superior end user experience and increasing the usability through a number of case and task innovations. We saw that easily navigating to the to-do lists, the activity badges, the notifications. We're also making it far easier for those employees when they have a quick question, they can get real-time answers from experts right within the task using the Embedded Connect feature. We're also making it easy for HR agents to respond to those common types of inquiries using the response templates or template snippets. And we just saw at the end here, those targeted communications out to employees, making it easy for HR to send those mass emails out to select groups of employees using the mass email communication. So we're super excited about the Kingston release, and primarily because we think it's going to add a ton of value to our customers. So that's it for now, until London, of course. Thanks again, Samantha. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.